This is Chris. This is who that. I don't know what I was doing, but graphic content. I don't know what I was thinking about doing. I was actually thinking about I need to get a new intro for this show, but that's what I really was thinking. But what's up, everybody? It's episode 7. I couldn't update the title, but we have a special guest. We got a good friend of ours. He was available. He wanted to dive into some of the topics we're going to talk about, and it's going to be pretty fun. So today, me and Chris and our guest, we're going to talk about CGC's mechanical error update crap. I'm sorry I said crap. We're going to talk about the Echo and the dates for Echo and what's the other show? I can't think, but mainly Echo. We're going to kind of talk about that, and we will talk about Guardians spoiler. So just be aware. That's why we're kind of leaving it towards the last thing to talk about. And we might, in the middle of that, show a book that we want to get graded and get your opinion on it. We like to do that as like an intermission thing. So I actually have some here, so it's like perfect. But to enter in the special guest who's been gracious enough, he's already having a little bit to drinky drink. Our buddy D-Ronk Comics. What's up, D-Ronk?
Sorry, I'm not more attractive.
That's all right. Just you know what? That's all. You got a face for radio. How about that?
I got radio face. Nice.
Hey, because some people get paid more for radio anyway.
Yes, they certainly do.
And then you don't have to worry about being on TV. You could just like be in your bathrobe and just talking.
Hey, I need someone with a wrench to get this lady fantastic person kicked off the chat.
Oh my god!
Obviously a troll. She's obviously a troll.
I think she has a wrench.
Selling off links, websites that you shouldn't be going to.
Funny thing is, I think she has a link. I mean, she has a wrench. I think. So it's like I don't even know if we could do her anything.
But
beat
us again.
But yeah. So what's up, D-Ron, man? Appreciate you joining. Actually, she doesn't have a wrench. Nobody actually has a wrench in there.
I got a wrench. I'm gonna get in there.
But I appreciate you joining us. You got anything going on? You want to say hello to the chat or anything before we get started, man?
No, it's good to be here, man. I love hanging out with you guys. I miss going on the hunt, but my Friday nights are so busy, and it's good to go on air with you guys. So I'm happy to be here.
So we appreciate it. I'm gonna shout out Lady Fantastic. He's talking about this lady who's in the chat talking about all kind of stuff. And Michael Baker said he took the silver. So he was saying Chili Cali Comics, ladies talking up a lot. We're not gonna talk. And then the Cali's talking about Quantum Mania. Who cares about that? We already saw that movie.
Quantum Mania was great.
But yeah, so we're gonna talk about CGC and their little update. I don't even think they put it on their website because I remember looking at the website. They don't even have it on there. They put it like on IG and I think Facebook, but it's like it's not even on their website unless you got to look for it. You probably do have to look for it, but that's kind of messed up that you have to look for it. So I know the main draw with that was the 2 weeks they're giving people to send books back. I like y'all read I know D-Ronk read it and kind of has been dealing with some issues that I've just dealt with recently. What's your thoughts about that, D? I mean, I'm like back and forth. Especially I don't like the 14 days, but
No, I get why they're making a few changes, but the only reason why they would make changes to the mechanical error policy is they're probably seeing too many mechanical errors.
Yeah.
And so like in my business, if we are, I ship things for a living, like pharmaceuticals and whatnot. If my customers start getting the wrong product, I don't think of how to punish my customer for getting the wrong product or the wrong quantity. I think of how to fix my own internal issues with quality and how we are shipping.
Yep.
So, and I would go into a deep process on how it's happening, how I can prevent it from happening again.
Yep.
And here, they know they're spending too much money in mechanical error fees. So the reason for changing the policy is to reduce the number of mechanical errors that they have to process.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like and I'll read the pile that's pulled it up on Instagram because I think you have to look.
That's
for
where
it
I first saw it. Was
Like,
Instagram.
Yeah, so it's like they said they updated the mechanical error for policy for clarifying, and I guess I don't know, whatever they're trying to use big words. I'm saying that, but all mechanical error submissions error have to be within 14 days from the submitter's receipt of the when you receive the collectible back. Additional returns only can of the original submitter. So if you use a third-party facilitator, that's not going to be good. So it has to go to original Newton rings, which is not natural, which occur under certain conditions, do not qualify for mechanical error. So they are not trying to fix that error either, or even get a better slab to fix that error. Valid mechanical error submissions are not charged shipping, insurance and handling fees within the 14 days of receipt. So I hate when my job does this too, and I know other people probably jobs do that. They tell you what they're doing and what they updating and basically saying this is what's going to happen, and then they try to tell you, hey, this is a positive. At least you don't have to do this, that, and you're like, you already had that in the policy. You already had that. We didn't have to pay for shipping and insurance. So it was already there. It's not like something you gave us. Yeah. I hate when you do that.
Like, there's a lot that they're saying there that they're not. They're going to spin it and try to put it as positive as possible, just because, hey guys, look, this new service we're providing for you. Doesn't that sound great? But then, Dee made a great point. It's just like they're doing that to try to reduce that number, just because the amount of money they're spending on it is too much. And one of the things that kind of makes me wonder too is like, all right, so it's a cost-cutting measure, which means they might not be doing as well as everyone thinks. Like there might be a little bit of trouble there where they're having to save some sort of cost.
And like I said, the cost of shipping stuff. That's where they're really paying that cost. I think most of, because they're doing the stuff in house, so it's not. I don't think as much as far as the materials, but I know the shipping, since they don't. It's not like they are shipping like Amazon. They have their own shipping stuff, so they can kind of cut costs and save a little bit. Since they're using FedEx, which I don't like FedEx, I hate that they made a deal. I hate that they made a deal with FedEx to only use them. But they're getting killed on shipping. I know they are.
And Michael Baker just made a good point. Like, they're not hurting for money. They're doing fantastic with money. But now that they are bought by a bigger company, big companies are always trying to find that extra nickel. Anywhere they can. And oftentimes you go to bend over and pick up these nickels and you step over $100 bills to get them. And you get those $100 bills by being phenomenal. By having great quality control, by not needing mechanical error submissions. That's how you get your $100 bills. And but they're just picking up their nickels right now, and that's I'm sure someone did an analysis on how many submissions they could eliminate by changing this policy down to 14 days. But they did not do an analysis on how many people aren't going to use our service anymore.
Exactly.
Because we have too many mechanical errors.
Yeah.
Or because
and the thing,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead because you're making good points here.
No, I mean, I was going to bring up your point. Like, you use a facilitator to send you
same wavelength. Then
So speak on it, Chris.
Well, it's just using the facilitator because I don't submit much in the first place, so that's why I went ahead and used a facilitator. But going through that, it's just like the facilitator I use pretty much hits cons every single weekend. So you have that whole position of, okay, so I went ahead and sent this to this facilitator. Now I get books back and mechanical error happened. Hey, can you send these back? Oh, we're at a con, or oh, we're doing this and that, or we'll try our best. It's like, well, now you have to send it back to them and hope that they get it within a certain amount of time. So you're paying extra shipping to get it to them, then hope that they send it out as quickly as they can. But if they're away, like the one I use, they're over in Italy right now, at the Lake Como Art Festival, and it's just like, okay, so it's going to take them probably more than 14 days to receive, open, then send that back over, even though they are local. So you're going to end up getting screwed on that whole thing, and then it's just like, so now what do? You have to basically play for a reholder and say, look, this happened, and I know you guys aren't going to take care of it, but here's my money all over again. How do it's really not a good idea. And I think that CGC is rested on they first were resting on the fact that we're the only game in town. Then CBCS came along like, well, we're better than they are. And then of course you had the competition happening, and now they're just like, well, we are the one that you guys know, so stick with that. And it's just like, it's very, very shaky ground that they're on as far as customer quality, just because you have to make sure that people want to stick with you. If they don't, there is competition. There's not tons, but there is competition. And if the other place is processing faster, not making these kind of mistakes, that's an incentive to go to them, just because to submit books and have them come back wrong and then have to go through that whole process, wait again, like that's tough, especially if you're selling books. Like that can be the kiss of death.
Yep. Talking about the facilitator and the 2 weeks they're given, basically. Not just facilitators, but I just thought about this, and then I didn't even think about when we were talking about this kind of backstage for a few minutes, but dealers go to a lot of conventions. They submit a lot of books. So if dealers are getting books back to their home office or home base or whatever, and then they get back, let's say those books came back a month ago, and they're all messed up.
Yep.
So you're gonna screw over the dealer as well, who submits way more than a regular person.
Yeah.
That's kind of I don't think that's gonna work well. I don't think they're gonna change anything. I think they could update a thing, but I don't think they're gonna change. I think an update of like 21 days, maybe a little bit better. But if you go on a vacation, I mean, not many people go on a little short vacations. But if you're going on a 2-week vacation, don't submit any books like before you go, because how fast they're grading and turning around style and stuff. Like, you'll be home and like, oh man, I forgot my order came back 2 weeks ago. So it's like,
even just taking a week could be tough, just because all right, you take a week, it came back, and while you're on vacation, and then you have 7 days or less to send it back to them and get it there. So it's just like, it could be a rough process for everybody.
Hey, they could really fix it by having accuracy standards for their people that put the labels on the book, and for the people that do quality control.
Yeah.
We have that in my warehouse, where if someone picks the order or packs the order, ships the order, if they got it wrong, that goes against their accuracy, and they got to hit a certain mark. And if they don't, they got to talk to the boss, which is me.
Yeah.
And
write up and talk to the boss, bro.
Yeah, and I'm savage, bro. I whip them when they come in the office right away. I insult their heritage and their family. Like, I'm actually not like that at all.
I was saying that he's probably totally out. But it's like, but you are making a point though. Like, it's like for something to get, because me and D actually had 2 experiences. I'm gonna touch on mine.
I'm gonna touch mine too.
But I had if anybody saw my unboxing of 4 magazine slabs, every label was incorrectly placed on the wrong book. So not only that the person who's slabbing the books put it incorrectly, but the person who receives it is supposed to check for quality control. I don't know if they told the person who's checking for quality control to only check to see if any chips or anything's wrong with the slab.
Yeah,
if that's what they told them, then I can't 100% blame them. But that shouldn't be told anyway. You should be checking for the label correctly, label placement correctly, book placement correctly, title, like everything should be also dealing with anything damages on the slab. So it passes 2 people. I'm not even going to count the shipping people, but it passes 2 people, and nobody notices the error. I literally had, I think, the first appearance of Star-Lord had the Vampirella 3 label on it. And
Yeah.
you literally would have to be either blind or can't read to know that book that doesn't match. Like, that's not even close, you know? I can understand the other two books because the other two books, the titles are the same, just the numbers are different. You know, you could be a quick glance, but that one was an obvious that should have been a mistake. And I literally unboxed those and shipped them out. I wish I could have did it the same day, but I had to wait till the next day to send them back. And I was gonna sell most likely 2 of the 4 books. At least 2 of the 4 books I was gonna sell. So now I got the delay on that. Probably got to wait a whole another month. And I'm not going to get confiscated for my time and my gas and my stuff, that a mistake that they missed not once but twice. So that's the part that gets me. So I'm gonna make D a little bit bigger while he talks about this.
I'm afraid of this one now.
All right, so I sent this in to get reholdered. It's my newsstand for Scarlet Spider. And I wanted it to say newsstand on the label. That's something that they recently started recognizing on the label.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent in this one and my Batman 497, which is also a newsstand. And they got it wrong and left the newsstand off the label for both. It happens. I wasn't happy, but I had to wait like 3 months to get the books back.
That sucks.
So I did it. They I did it right away. Before the policy even came in, I still did it right away because I'm like that. But I sent it to him, and when you do a mechanical error, if you've never done one before, you have to put in a reason why you're submitting the mechanical error for each book. And I did that. I like, hey, this should have been recognized as a newsstand on the label. And I sent it in to them. They went through the mechanical error process and still didn't get the newsstand label on there. I had to send it back a second time.
Oh, wow.
The second time, they're like, oh, so sorry about that. Send it to Kayla in Signature Series, and I'll personally walk it down there and make sure it gets done right. And I was telling Houdat about this. I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm doing this twice now.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of like if you go through McDonald's drive-through and they get your burger wrong, the manager comes out and gives you a little apple pie, Like CDC ain't giving you no apple pie. They're just telling you you're welcome. We're the best. Come back.
They'll even say, oh, you got the wrong thing? Oh, keep that. I'll give you a new one.
Yeah.
Especially ever since after COVID. I don't want the old one back. Just keep it. We're gonna give you a new one.
But and that Kayla I said from CDC, she was super nice to me. I don't think it's her choice to credit a customer. She was just the person put in charge of helping me out, and I was very nice to her. Even when I asked, I was like, "Hey, do you guys compensate me for my wasted time and effort and energy here?" And they don't. So
it's like, nah, son.
No, they're like, no, we make way too much money. You could take your business elsewhere, and everything would be just fine with CGC. We'll be okay.
Yeah. And that's kind of disheartening because, like you said, it's not. And I want to be clear so people understand. You paid for them to put that on. He didn't get the first time when you sent it. You were paying for a reholder. Yeah. I want to clarify people. So when he first sent it, he paid for it. And then they messed up twice. So it's like, all right, we took your money. Yeah, we screwed up. Oh, we screwed up again. Guess what? We took your money and you had to use your gas twice. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still going to use us. We don't care.
No, and when you do a reholder, they ask you, like, there's a checkbox now for telling them you're reholdering because you want it to be a newsstand now.
Mm-hmm. And then they never used to have that either.
Yeah, no, and they recently, I think it was like 2 months ago, they started recognizing newsstands on the label, which I think is a valid thing to put on the label.
Mm-hmm.
And I checked that box, on both of them, because that's the reason why I did the submission. And and then when I did that, I was like, oh hey, I'm gonna reholder these 5 old label or old slab books that I don't like the old label, and all that money I spent was just to get these 2 books to say a newsstand, and they got it wrong twice. So not the best service on their end. No.
So I don't have a story of my own, but I do have a story of a friend of mine, and it's gone. Like, a lot of people have seen it. They might have. Like, if you go on his Instagram, you can see it. He's definitely mentioned it. And Amazing Murphinator sent in a Spider-Man #1, the McFarlane one, for the McFarlane signing. And so the book came back. It had a nice yellow label, Todd McFarlane, and everything else. And then, so of course, at first glance, you're like, oh, cool, you got this book signed. And he's like, just sitting there looking at it, and it's like, wait a minute, there's no signature on this book. And I'm like, well, did he sign the inside? And I remember trying to be nice. Oh, what do you have him sign the inside? No. Did he put it on the back? Where is it? That's what I'm asking you. I'm like, I didn't sign the book. I don't know what's going on with that. And I was like, he's like, yeah. He's like, they didn't sign my fucking book. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So they literally went through everybody. It passed by Todd. He didn't sign it, which, I understand the guy's got to, stack up to as tall as he is.
Honestly, he probably didn't even get the book. It went straight from the box to grading. That's what happened.
Yeah. And then so he's got a yellow label, Todd McFarlane signed book that's not even signed. It's just like, and it's just like, it's just one of those things where it's like, paid the money for it to be signed, paid for the label and everything else. And it's just like, he didn't even get the most important part of it. But hey, there you go. It's a 9.8 and everything. It's just like, so that was the start of everything. Cause he got that back, I want to say, in the beginning of March. And it's just like, it was the start of all this, that was the start of things kind of starting to go screwy that I was seeing. And now it's just like, one of those things where you kind of have to be, worried about that. Because, like I said, I have those books with the facilitator. They're out and, being graded. But, I would really hate for something that is clearly not, a book that I was, this is definitely not, Catwoman, whatever. This is, the pro #1. Like, how do you completely different artists, everything? It's like, how do you confuse that? But, and then to know the extra steps you're going to have to go through just to get it, rectified is ridiculous. So
it's sad when you think about it, but they're probably, like I said, they're spending so much money on doing it that they had to figure out a way to eliminate some of that money. And I think, like you said, like he said, that 14 day threshold, I think was right on point. Because and I'm pretty sure it's 14 business days, so it makes it even better.
They don't say business days though. Like, they could hold.
Oh, they really don't?
No, they don't.
Days. So you hope
14 business days. Like, the business days is how long it takes for them to ship it to you. It says 14 days in their new policy. So
they want it back as quickly as possible. Oh, you missed that 14 days. But I really like that. I like these analogies in the beginning, where it's just like, if we make a mistake at work, we don't just punish our customers and say, oh, this. And there's a reason for that. And I'm not saying that you can do the same thing with CGC, obviously. Like, no one's going to sue them for giving the wrong label. But, one thing that I really do think that they should do in the midst of all this type of stuff is maybe say, all right, look, we're going to do, we're going to knock down the walls. We're going to show you how we do our grading process. Take a book and then just, you don't have to do it for everyone, but just take a book. This is what we do, this, and show us the process, at least to give people a peace of mind. Like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're ensuring this happens. Just because they trot out that dude to go ahead and every time they make a policy change, dude goes on Elite Comics 11 and at least asks him all these questions. He's like, yes, I do this and this is what we're going to do. And but then it's like, you have this, underlying stuff that's like, oh, but this random policy change happened. And it's like, well, we're not going to get another answer from this dude for another month to talk about this. So we'll see what happens. Because I know Elite is definitely good at asking the questions, trying to press them to figure out as much information as possible. But I really do think that they need to be a little more transparent with this type of stuff and really kind of open it up to everybody who's, sending all this stuff out.
I got it. You want to get quality control better? How about this? You got like I said, you got the slabbing process, and you have the quality control person. Mm-hmm. They could split what I'm thinking about. $5 you get, the customer gets if you screw up an order.
Yeah.
Then you take it out of their paycheck. I guarantee you stuff will start getting fixed. Yeah, and if you're splitting $5 between two departments, or bonuses, or take it out of their bonuses. All right, so yeah, everybody gets a bonus, blah blah blah. But sorry, slabbing and quality control, we gotta y'all are getting less bonuses because we're taking that pot out and giving it to the customers because you screwed up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the things that's a problem here, and going down a little bit different rabbit hole, but I saw a job posting for CDC a few months ago. Maybe it was a year ago, and it was for their receiving department. Okay, and we're talking like this was in like late 21 or early 22. I can't remember, but it was. They were proud of offering $14 an hour to work at CDC in their receiving department.
Yeah,
and $14 an hour like is not a lot of money these days. Like $14 an hour is not going to pay your rent and your car payment, your car insurance, feeding your family,
especially in Florida.
Yeah. So
that's why I kind of made that smirk when Huda's like, "Oh, we'll take out your bonus." They're not getting bonuses.
No,
there's no bonus for grading books.
No. The company people I've heard somebody who knows somebody who works in it, they get bonuses, but I heard the most recent bonuses. Now this is just hearsay, but it's come from a really reliable source. They said they were supposed to get bonuses and it's supposed to trickle down to different departments, right? They started doing layoffs. They started doing layoffs so people couldn't get those bonuses.
Yeah.
So if you notice certain things, like D submits, I think I don't know if you submit as much as me, but you submit books. I know you probably noticed this. When they receive a package, doesn't it take more than a few days to open?
Oh yeah. So they've now instituted a new thing and I got one more thing. I want to talk about their social media, but they instituted a new feature on their website where you can type in your tracking number and it will tell you if they have it in the warehouse. And that doesn't mean it's received in yet. It just means that they have the box there. So and that's the funny part is all their turnaround times, all that crap doesn't start until they receive it in. So
yeah. So that's kind of like I always thought that was funny, like because I literally got a package that's been there. I'm probably about a week now, that they haven't opened. But there's one thing they do immediately once they open it. They take your money. So it's kind of like, hey, well, oh yeah, we got your boxes over here in building 2. Yeah. It didn't make it to building 1 yet because to open it. But once we open it,
well, hey, that's another thing that they could do. It would save them money and the customers money. So with this submission, okay, that I sent this in, I also sent in my Secret Wars 8. I wanted to get the custom Secret Wars 8 label put on it. I had to pay a separate shipping fee for that book. All right. That book shipped on the same day as the other books.
Wow.
But because it's a custom label, it goes into a different department. And so they could do a thing where they consolidate the order or give the customer the choice. Like, hey, do you want to pay extra to have it shipped out separately as soon as they're ready? Or do you want to consolidate it and pay less shipping?
And it would save them too on materials.
Exactly. So that's dumb in its own right. But the other thing I was going to talk about, the way they announced
the dramatization of that, if you want, it's just like, oh, all right, so you get the book in, and all of a sudden you hit this, sheet of paper. It's like, hey, Bill, custom label. All right, going to the other department. Thanks, Johnny.
No, it was in the same submission. It was so crazy. All the same dollar value, like it was the same tier, everything, but custom label. So if you want to send, for people watching, if you want to send a custom label to CDC, that whole submission should be custom labeled.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
Or you're going to pay separate shipping, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But
guess what? It's not even another department. Only thing that's changed, they changed the label.
I know. It's so crazy.
John.
But here's the other thing. So when they announced the policy, and we should probably break off the subject eventually, but I'm good to talk about CGC all right. I don't care. But when they announced it on all their social media. So their Instagram, their Facebook, I'm sure they have a Twitter, whatever. But so when you do that, like I love reading comments. Comments make my life go round, okay? And it's all negative. Okay, like not all negative. There's a few marks out there that are just like CGC, no matter what, good for you for cracking down on the. But like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 comments were like, "Hey, why you got to do that to me, CGC? We're not happy," and they don't reply to any of them. Most reputable companies have a social networking responder.
Team. They have a social media team.
Yeah, so the social media team will make the posts, and then they also have like a few sub social media people, 1 or 2 people that wait for those comments and reply to the negative comments, because a lot of those negative comments aren't even regarding that post. It's like, hey, why do you have my books from 2012? Like, oh my God, I send you DM, we'll take care of you. And they so it shows that the company cares and that they're engaging with their upset customers. CGC does not reply to the comments on their social media posts, not even a little bit, unless like it's a good post, like, hey, look at this cool book, Todd McFarlane's here, and then like people go, I love Todd McFarlane, and CGC will say, yeah, Todd McFarlane loves you too. And but if it's about policy change, pricing updates, turnaround times, anything that could have negative comments in the comment field, CGC silent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and I think they might have that in their own internal policy. Hey, you work for the social media team, but when we do these type of things, you don't comment.
Oh, it's definitely deliberate, because
because like you said, they do respond to stuff, but only on the good stuff. Like say, hey, Todd is coming. Oh man, awesome, blah blah blah. How long is he gonna be there? They'll answer. They'll be like, oh, he's gonna be here from this day to this day. He's gonna sign until his arm falls off. They'll say whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it's like pricing update, he's like, all right, just be quiet. It'll blow over.
So if you go to like the Twitter account of like a cell phone carrier, okay? I'm just using T-Mobile as an example. And they announce anything, okay? They will say, hey, more coverage for everybody for free. All they're going to get in the comments are negative comments about, I don't get good. But T-Mobile responds to each comment. And it doesn't always get anywhere, but at least they're trying to publicly show we care about the people that aren't happy. We want to retain their business. CGC is full arrogance right now. They're like, fuck them. They can be mad. It's okay. And they just walk away, and they'll
forget by tomorrow. They will forget by tomorrow.
And we probably will. But anyways, right now we're on graphic content. We're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it for the rest of the night. I don't want to say I'm going to take it anymore, because I'll send 4 books tomorrow, but I'm still mad as hell.
But like in some of the comments, because I left a comment, because it's like they can answer some of the comments. Like I left a comment saying, well, I guess I shouldn't submit any books before I go on a vacation, because I might miss the window if y'all mess up some books. They could have answered that, and they could have said they could have, and a good company would have answered that, and a good company would have an answer for something like that. Not saying that, hey, I mean, even if you want me to prove it, hey, I could prove I was not home, or I could say I had a stop mail, hold mail order, proving that I am out of town. Like, it's ways that you can kind of be like, all right, this is the policy, but hey, if you are out of town, this is the policy for you, and you just got to show us proof that you are out of town. Like, to me,
they could have commented with something as simple as, wow, that's a good point. If this happens to you, just reach out and we will work something out.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
Just
show something. Yeah, show something you care.
They like, nope. And here's the deal: if they're really going to do that, they should just turn comments off on the post.
Yeah.
Like
That's
They've done that before. I don't know if you noticed that.
No,
They've
I
done
know,
that
but they
before.
should do it more often because there are too many posts that they make where it's just all negativity in the comment field. Just turn it off then. If you're not going to reply, just put it in the post like da 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 da. And hey, we're not going to read your comments, so we're turning them off. And just
Yeah.
we have no shame. We don't care. It's okay.
Actually, what would make me laugh is if they had like an animated GIF of some guy just lighting up $100 bill and just be like, "I'd light my cigar real quick." Wow.
Yeah.
That's just a response to everything. I would actually laugh.
Well, y'all don't have anything else. I don't know if the chat has anything else to kind of. So I saw Chef put in there. He's like, they did hire a lot of people. They recently let a lot of people go, which they're not mentioned. But I know people who actually were working for them. They got fired, not because they did anything wrong. It's because of like bonuses and other stuff.
Shakeups.
But yeah, and I think they let go a lot of quality control and people in the shipping department. Reason why I was told that, and it kind of makes sense, is because if you send something into them at the max, it might take 3 weeks for them to open. At the max, that's what I'm just going by my time frame. What I've noticed, it took them 3 weeks to open something. Or at the minimum, they'll open it in 1 day. So it just there's like a shoot in the dark with that. So if that's happening, that means they don't have enough people working in that department. The other department is quality control, is obviously because they don't have anybody there. They're going from slabbing to shipping. Going from slabbing to shipping because it's too many errors that are happening and that are obviously should be caught. Like I said, if you can read and and see, you should be able to catch them.
Hey, I'll give you all a real free tip. If you want to get your books opened from CGC faster, write ME on the box on all sides. That shows them that it's a mechanical error, and they do open those faster. And then leave a note on the inside of the box. It says, "Psych, y'all bitches should have been opening this up weeks ago anyways. Get out of here." All right, hey, I got to go to the bathroom, and then I'll come back to talk about Echo. Me and Chris will start talking about Echo. So if anybody got any comments, man, let it, shoot them out. But so they announced Echo, and what was the other show?
So it's.
Oh man,
I know they announced
Loki.
Yeah.
So Loki and Echo got announced with the dates, the official dates.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna throw this in there. What I'm kind of upset about, just to let people know, Ironheart is been finished. I don't know what's going on with that. That's that's done by Ryan Coogler. So I'm kind of discouraged about that. And I'll probably talk a little bit about that once we talk more about Echo. But that's my thoughts on that part. But Echo and Loki. Loki's going to be the traditional once a week.
Yes.
Echo's going to try something new and get dropped all at once.
Yeah.
So my assumption on why they're doing it, and a couple of reasons. I think they're testing it out. That's my thoughts of why they're dropping Echo all at once. They're testing it out. Also, they know it's not a character that everybody wants immediately. People want Ironheart more than they want Echo. So I think that's another reason why they're going to drop all at once. Because if you know anything about these shows, every now, like one episode might be good, the second episode might be terrible, and they can't have that with Echo. Like week 2 is terrible, and then everybody turns off. So, so that's there's like a couple things. I think they're testing it out, seeing how the watch time is going to happen for something that dropped all at once. That's the major test, and I'm trying to think what else I messed up, but I know that's the major test. I think they're testing out, seeing how that works, and they're trying to see if people will like the character as well after that. So, what you think, Chris?
Well, I'll say this much: I like that they're going to go ahead and do the testing, or at least have it all be dropped at once. Because one of my big things is that I think that the model that they use, where it's one episode a week, could appeal to people that are resistant to streaming or people that are new to it, where it's just like, if you're normally just going to go on and watch a show, you're used to it. Okay, this show's on this week, and then I got to come back next Wednesday at 8:30 and see it again. And then, which, that's cool. But when you're on the streaming, it's just like, you know what? I'd rather have it drop all at once so I can watch it, especially if it's something that like I look forward to. I want to be able to watch it through, a weekend or however I want to do it, and just know that it's all there and not have to watch or wait, because there's a lot of times where, you'll end up seeing a drop off from me, just because the fact is I'm not going to sit there and wait every single Wednesday and be like, oh, every Wednesday I need to see, or every whatever day. Usually I'll watch maybe like one or two, and then I will wait until it ends, and then I'll watch it all at once again, just because that's how I like to go. And I think, where some people will say, they prefer the other model of, once a week. It depends on the show, just like you were saying. Like, it depends on the character. It depends on everything that is going on with it. Just because I know when it comes to something like a great example is like Stranger Things. Like Stranger Things had basically, there were long episodes. Started about like a little more than an hour in the beginning of the season, and then once they got to the end of it, or at least the last two episodes were like, I think like the last one was like an hour and a half, and the other one, they're like movie length, and the other one was like a little bit more than 2 hours. It was just like, having it be that long where you have so much to wait for. If you had to do that every single week, people would lose interest just because of how long the episode was. And say, I just basically watched a movie of this. Now I have to wait another week or whatever it's going to be for that to come out. It's a tough model depending on the show and depending on the popularity of it. So I think for Loki, it makes sense because of the fact that, you're going to have, Victor Timely in there. So you're going to have a Kang type thing, and they're sorting all that out with, whatever his situation is right now. And, at least, like, let's say it ends unfavorably, they can kind of go a different direction, or at least, somewhat go from that. But when it comes, the thing that I look at it with, those, just shows in general, is that I don't think there's really any excuse not to do everything at once, because of the fact that you have it all done. You may hold some things back to do a couple of like edits and reshoots, but they're coming out in November. So I would say your edits and reshoots have to be done by mid-September at best. And then after that, it's just, you're in. And I think a lot of people would really be in for seeing, like, I can watch Loki in a whole weekend, great. Instead of I have to wait 3 months to get this whole show finished, that's going to be kind of a drag.
I'll touch on your thing real quick, and if you can answer the Loki. Guess who was left out of the advertisement for the show?
Oh, of course, Victor. Jonathan Major. But he like they put him in the trailer at one point, but then yes, of course they've backed him out just because
they don't even have his name in the credits, like not like for it's like people who are in the show. They don't have, like they almost making it like he's not there. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Wow. What you think, D, with this whole Loki and
so I'm like
Echo?
I'm a hybrid of the two. I prefer to watch a show when I can watch it all at once. That's how I like it. But these shows have done their research, and they know that if they do that, the hype around your show ends very quickly.
Yes.
You release the show, all the websites give their reviews on every episode on that first night. And then it's done until if they have a season 2 or 3 or 4, whatever season you're on. So they know that it dies off quicker if they release it all at once. If it's streaming, I will not watch it until it's done. So if you chat with people on Instagram or you have friends that watch the show, if they do a different watch schedule than you, you can't even talk to those people anymore. Like try and talk to Hudat before he's seen Guardians. Like, you can't. Like, he doesn't even want to hear that you went to the theater. He'll block your ass on Instagram right away. But
Yeah.
I'll put them restricted. I'm not extreme. I'll admit that I do restrict people, and I'll get you unrestricted after I see the stuff.
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean,
no,
it
but
makes sense.
I do prefer a full stream. Like I want to watch it
Yeah.
at my leisure. The only downside to that though is like I'll tell you, like with Daredevil when it was on Netflix, they released each season one block at a time. Just here it is, blah, watch away. You'd have to wait a really long time until that next season came out, as
Yep.
opposed to when they spread it out over 12 or 20 episodes or whatever they did. Then that wait from the season finale to the season premiere was shorter.
Yeah.
But when I watched Daredevil in one full weekend, and I'm just like, yeah, get him, Matt Murdock.
I think they're testing Echo for Daredevil, because if we remember, Daredevil's going to be like 18 episodes.
Yeah,
they're not about to do 18 weeks of Daredevil. They're not, because that's going to run into movies. That's going to run into movies. That's going to run into other shows. So there might be a little test for the Daredevil. Not saying they're going to drop all 18 episodes, but could they drop 6, and 6?
Yeah. You remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like when that show first came out, it used to be part of the cinematic universe.
Yep.
And the first season was started before Captain America Winter Soldier came out.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't touch on anything to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra until after the movie came out.
Yeah.
So the first half of the first season was nothing.
Yep.
It was
random people.
It was like random people going to work, and then they clock in and clock out, and they take a lunch break, and then they go home and they honk the horn in traffic. And that's pretty much the first like half of the first season. And that might have been the second season even. I forget. I
think so. Yeah.
But
there was a
I
lot
think the first episode had Nick Fury in it. Or what's it?
Yeah, they were trying to.
Nick Fury was in it, and they definitely danced around stuff until they got the chance, like until everything kind of came around, and then because I remember it picked. I want to say it might have been season 3 or whatever that it picked up after that, like after the whole Hydra thing. Then it picked up, and I was like, oh, now you have all, and you saw all these extra characters and everything getting built up more, and it's like, oh, okay, so now that we, but it is kind of crazy that they got constrained by that so much. It took them 2 seasons to be able to get to, or 2 or 3 seasons to be able to get in and say, all right, now we can actually start telling a story other than, okay, these people know each other, and these two have kind of a romance, and these ones, definitely like each other, but we're not going to move further with that. And then just like, so you're right. It was almost an office drama for the first 2 seasons.
I'll tell you this spoiler alert for Echo. Nothing big will happen in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
because if something world-changing happens, they won't be able to touch on it until the movie drops.
Yep.
If they dropped it all right away, they could ignore that and then work around it. But yeah, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was the second season.
You know what else about Echo? I'm kind of split on it if it's going to be good or not. A reason why I'm split on it, because a lot of the show, you might not have like any talking, no dialogue. So that's why the show got done a lot quicker. Also, it's not any dealing with any type of extra, like Ironheart has to have a lot of CGI in the show. Mm-hmm. That doesn't have to have any. So this kind of, because people are worried about, man, it has to be terrible. And you kind of think they did rush the show. Like the show literally got shot, I want to say a year ago, less than a year ago. I think it was less than, I think it was like 12 to 8 months ago. They started shooting it and they're done. So it's like, wait, is it good? Like, well, it could be because they don't have these other factors, like I just said, that they need to do. But you got another show, like I had mentioned, Ironheart, that got filmed, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? They got filmed a while ago. Yeah. And they have a major director who, like, a lot of people love, Ryan Coogler, who wrote Ironheart. He produced it. He didn't direct all I think he directed maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but he's heavily involved in that character. And you kind of like, been pushing that one back. I don't know why, because I trust Ryan Coogler more than I trust whatever they're doing with Echo. That's just how I put up the thing. But I think they're trying to get Echo started to get Daredevil going. But guess what?
Yeah.
Daredevil's stopped because of the writer's strike. Yeah, because of the writer's strike. And it has nothing to do with the writers because the stuff's done. But other people that work on the show is like, well, we're staying in with the writers. We're not going to work. And so they had to stop production. Stop filming. So I think their idea of pushing out Echo to get Daredevil fast, it's like, yeah, I think it's all for none now because Daredevil's going to get delayed now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think too, the other thing, why Ironheart is probably being pushed back is, just like he was saying, is like it's probably going to lead to a hint of something bigger that they have to, kind of keep pushing it back because it's like, all right, we can't put we're not going to give away something that hasn't happened yet. So that's kind of, a crazy thing that happens, but it is what it is.
Yeah, because Ironheart is like dealing. I think Ironheart's going to be more with Agatha, because it's technology versus magic. That's basically what they said what Ironheart's going to be. So Agatha and Ironheart can kind of play off of each other, but Agatha got pushed back as well. So I think they have big plans for Ironheart because they got a lot of stuff that started rumoring out, for as like Mephisto being in there and all kind of stuff. But something's going on with that show that ties in a lot of stuff, and I think that's what's going on.
Dude, the MCU will officially end production on all of their shows and movies in like the last Avengers movie, and we're not seeing Mephisto. I think everyone that works on those shows are owners of Silver Surfer 3, and they are just waiting. Like, oh, Mephisto will be in this one.
And a lot of people keep saying that you're not going to get Mephisto because of China, but guess what else China doesn't like? China doesn't like witches. So, like Agatha and all the stuff dealing with that, you're not going to see at all. So it's like, so what are you holding your breath for China? And you can't rely on China anyway. You need to rely on the U.S. The U.S. the ones that really make you the money.
Ooh,
so
I don't know about that, man. If you don't get the Chinese market, you're not getting the big box office.
Yeah, you need that money.
I can say that's not true because Black Panther 1 literally almost made $1 billion just from U.S. It made over $800 million from the U.S.
And I think that's one good example against my point. But
I got one for you.
But there are a lot of other examples of where they have to kiss China's butt.
Oh, and also, what's the one that Tom Cruise did? That wasn't in China either.
The Top Gun.
Top Gun wasn't in China either.
Well, yeah, that was never going to be hidden.
Yeah.
All those type of movies, those military American.
Here's
military
a movie
movies.
about the might of the American military.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to do well in America, but we need $9.
But I got to go against Manny. I love you, Manny. I see you in a lot of different stuff. She didn't take me out of the movie. I actually liked her character in the movie. But I've seen people who have either or. I like the character in the movie. There's other stuff that actually took me out of the movie, and it was nothing with her. It was actually some fight scenes that kind of took me out of the movie, and I'm like, making the what they call the Tola Khans, whatever, like basically invincible. That kind of took me out a little bit.
Talking about?
Well, Black Panther 2. I was talking about Riri and Ironheart, and he talked about it took him out of the movie, and I just said she didn't take me out of the movie. It was other stuff that took me out of the movie, like when they stabbed a couple of the people that was with Namor in the heart, and they still were alive. Like, come on. So they invincible, not like
a flesh wound, baby.
I could see if that was a regular sword. That was a vibranium spear to the chest.
Well, that's like when people like to give me a hard time about the first Suicide Squad, and they're like, it was good. Like, what are you talking about? How didn't you like that movie? I'm like, look, when you have the Rick Flags military guys, the soldiers sitting there with M16 shooting at these monsters, these zombified guys, and they're just walking through the bullets like nothing happened. And here comes little 105-pound Harley Quinn with her fucking
What a baseball bat.
whacking them, and they're going down like I was like, are you kidding me? Well, because she's so crazy, she got super strength. I was like, she is not stronger than a bullet. I don't give a shit how crazy she is. She is not stronger than a bullet. Not like it just blew my mind. I was like, you gotta tell me that this is okay, and people, so people like what they like, and I get it, but like, there are those things that will kind of take you out of that. Like, yes, a vibranium spear, when we're going ahead and plunging it in, and no, it's good.
I gotta give a shout out to Big Dave Loves Comics. Give him a little love for the super chat. Big Dave, I will when I do another giveaway. I'm not doing one for the next couple months because next month I'm actually going on vacation like twice out of that month, so I'm not available to kind of like promote it. But I got you when I do it in July. Just remind me, Big Dave. But I got you. But I want to touch on this because we're talking about Echo and stuff. Then we can talk about this Guardians spoiler. Seth Rollins, man, your boy, Seth freaking Rollins. It's in Captain America, New World. Oh, not Seth freaking Boston, but Seth freaking Rollins. So I heard he's going to be, I think, Diamondback. But the Serpent Society. That's what I heard. There's going to be Serpent Society, and I think one of the characters is Diamondback, and they said he's dressed kind of like that character from the comics. So I know a lot of people are talking about this spec with the death of a character that's coming up, and I kind of went the other boat and was telling people, hey, once you get this book here, because even if they kill off Seth Rollins, they're not going to kill off the whole Serpent Society.
No,
I think that's
society.
So, yeah, it's a society. So that's a good book that I know one of our friends just picked up from the LCS. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but that's the book I kind of was like, hey, go, you can get it for like $3. Like, you literally can find that book for $3. You can find it for the same cover price as this new book that's coming out that people are buying tons of that you might see on the auctions. I hate to say, but I'd rather buy that book with Seth Rollins type of character and the whole Serpent Society.
I'll tell you a book. I mean, let's put it this way. If you're talking about Serpent Society and you're worried about the health of, Seth Rollins' character in that book, there's one character 100% that they will put in there that will be, in charge of that Serpent Society, and it's going to be Viper. If you don't have the first appearance of Viper, I'll put it this way. Get the Seth Rollins character, definitely. Go ahead and get Diamondback. But, you should also be looking at first appearance of Viper. Just because, like, there's no way that she's not going to be in there, that they're doing a Serpent Society. Not necessarily in that movie, but there's no way that they're not going to use her as a character. She's street level. She's got ties to Captain America and a lot of other street level villains. So,
and who else? I'm kind of to piggyback on what you who else might be really in charge of the whole Serpent Society? That a lot of people they've been specking on this character long. You don't know what I'm talking about, D. I'm talking about Sin. I'm talking about Sin, Red Skull's daughter.
Yes.
That's the character that I've been like, I was like, hold on. We had all stuff with Red Skull. We built it up. We brought it back in Endgame. Because everyone's like, oh, man, Red Skull. And then all of a sudden, you kind of let it fade away. I was like, come on. The dude was, I know he was a Nazi and he was doing some despicable things. You think he wasn't getting it in? I'm just being honest.
He got around.
Yeah. So I could see it maybe not being his daughter, but it could be his granddaughter. It'd be the same character. But man, they've been specking on that character, and usually a lot of time when they spec on something for so long, it's right, but we forget about it. If you notice, it's like oh man, I remember them talking about that years ago. Oh man, they were right. You're like, yeah. So I'm kind of thinking they might do Serpent Society. Well, they are gonna. We know they're doing Serpent Society, but I think she might play a part eventually. But yeah, they're gonna have all those other characters that you're talking about.
No, they definitely will, and it's just like because you got to think of it like that. I mean, Hydra basically is a servant. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like they're gonna have something to replace that, and it's just gonna be something it can connect in a lot of different ways. Like Servant Society. has ties to a lot of different stuff. So it's like you could see them, insert into a Shang-Chi movie, into all these different places, in all different forms. So it's just like, that's just what I think. I think that, yeah, as soon as you hear Serpent Society, Viper should definitely be one of the people that you're looking for.
Hey, the other person you need to get if you're looking for Serpent Society spec is Scarlet Spider books, baby. Scarlet Spider will be all over that son bitch.
That's right.
They had another character who was part of the Serpent Society. I think in the characters already in the MCU.
Ben Riley.
No, somebody else that we know, and somebody said it on a show I was watching, or actually a podcast I was listening to. I can't remember. Venom. Agent Venom was part of the Serpent Society. I think Agent Venom. Agent Venom was part of the Serpent Society. I think that's what, if I remember correctly, though, on the podcast. But they're like, Agent Venom's not going to show. But let's transition because Guardians. I think you saw Guardians.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I figured you wouldn't want to jump on it.
Well, that's what pulled me in when you threw it out there to me. Like I've seen that movie and I could speak on it.
Yeah. So to let everybody know, we're about to talk about Guardians. It's been 2 weeks. So spoilers, we're gonna probably talk about spoilers. Well, no, we will mention spoilers, but I don't want anybody to get upset. So I don't have a spoiler tag that some of these fancy channels might would have. But just to let you know, if you haven't seen it, come back, watch this part after you see the video. But before you go, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Again, shout out to Big Dave for the super chat. Next time, leave a question, Big Dave, or a comment, man. We can highlight it. Ask a question when you do that. But yeah, Guardians 3. I'll just give my overall grade first. If I had to, I'm trying. Well, how should I grade? Want me to do CGC grades or just A, B, C? What y'all want me to give?
Let's give it a CGC grade. I like that.
The CGC grade is definitely
grades,
not. Look, it's people gonna be mad. It's definitely not a 9.8. But I'll say this about the movie: it's a solid. If I had to give a CGC grade, it's a solid 9.4.
Yes,
strong 9.4. Strong 9.4. White pages. I'll give it the white pages. But so I'll give it a 9.4. Reason why it's not a 9.6, 9.8 because there's certain things I would have did differently that I didn't like how they did. But that was my overall grade. I'll talk more about the movie. Y'all could say what y'all overall grade was.
Yeah, no, that was mine. I was gonna say solid 9.4. I I liked it a lot. I don't think there really wasn't anything that I felt bothered me in the movie. There wasn't anything I didn't really like specifically, but I did I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and it was different from what I was expecting. Though I'll say that much right now.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
Hey, I go same realm. I was thinking 9.2, 9.4. That's subjective. Very good movie. I loved it. Things I would change for sure, but I would watch it right now if I could.
Yeah,
all right, well,
I would back out of this stream and watch it right now.
Yeah, well, if it was on Disney Plus, I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it right now as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the stuff we will change. Since I got stuff, I know D said he has some stuff he will change.
Hey, how about? I'm taking control.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about things we liked first.
Oh, okay. Things we liked. That's all right. That's some of the things we liked.
And then we'll get to the stuff we didn't like.
All right. So stuff I liked. I did like the Rocket backstory. I did like that. The CG was very good. I did like the villain. And the villain was played very well. When he did the character at San Diego Comic-Con, I didn't understand what he was going for. Then when I saw the movie, it's like, all right. So I liked the villain. What else I like? I like that how they had Drax and what's her name? Mantis. Drax and Mantis played back and forth with each other because it didn't feel like it was overly forced. As it felt like it was natural how they kept going back and forth. What else? I did like the introduction of some of the newer members. I liked that. I'll explain even some of the characters that people might have other issues, which is Warlock. I like that introduction as well, and I'll explain why.
Yep.
But trying to think what else I liked. Oh man, I like some of the Easter eggs that I saw. I wish we could have had a little bit more of those little Easter eggs, especially I think the poker table scene. I saw a character and I wanted, God, give him more than this one line. Come on. but yeah, I still love the cameo Easter egg of that, and yeah, it's like the minimal. The reason why I was going to touch on the stuff I didn't like because it's really not as many, but it's so much I did like that it's hard to. I might forget a lot of stuff, but I like basically a lot of, like, I would say if it's like 9.4 is like 94% of the movie. It's like not much I didn't like.
Chris, what did you like about the movie?
Well, I mean, a lot of what Hudat said, I liked. I liked Rocket's backstory. I thought that was good. I liked how they just kind of didn't do it all at once. I liked how they kind of sprinkled it in throughout. I think that it helped. It helped bring out the emotion in that character, and just really helped bring out the emotion in the rest of the Guardians, as far as like finding out what it was that made him so important, and then their realization as to like what he went through, made them all, I think, kind of stronger together at a time where they seemed like they were kind of frayed. They were kind of broken up a little bit, and it really kind of helped, I think, bring all that together. I liked High Evolutionary. I think he was done really well. He's goes from kind of, you're a little skeptical about him in the beginning, and then he goes ahead and solidifies why he's a villain, and just does not back up from the minute he solidifies it. He does not take a foot off the gas. Like I would say, I think in terms of how he came across as a villain, he was like where Kang kind of had that little bit of like, oh yeah, he can go either way. Like, he doesn't really seem all that evil, and then like he just kind of jumps into that evil, but like it took a little bit more convincing. Oh, he's got to be evil because that's how they're setting him up. High Evolutionary, like as soon as he went evil, you were like, oh my god, this guy is sinister. Like he is.
Yeah, this guy is insane.
like he's the worst. And I also liked how they had, I guess, the music that they had in there was good. I think it helped convey the message. I don't think it was as strong as in the other movies, but I do like how they had the Adam Warlock. I like how they did a lot of teasing of things that we thought were going to happen, just because like me and Hudat pretty much did a body count in the last, like, oh, this one's gone, that one's gone, this one's gone, and
over under. We did over under. We both were wrong.
Oh, we did over under. and really like they did a good job of keeping you on the edge of your seat to try to figure out who would make it, who wouldn't make it, how it's all going to kind of work out. So that was pretty good. And of course, tons of comedy in there. There's a lot of good, funny parts in there that were good. I really liked towards the end when Drax was talking, like towards the end when they kind of go on High Evolutionary ship and, they find all those little kids and, they're just, it's, the only language they're saying is jib, 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 jib. And then, and Drax is just kind of sitting there just looking at him. And all of a sudden, like, just out of nowhere, he just starts talking, in their language and stuff. And I think it was it not Gamora, the other one? Nebula's like, why didn't you say you could talk? He's like, you never asked me. He's like, and then after that, he's like, no, there's another part where he starts talking about again. He's like, no. He's like, we have to do our job. We have to be good jib jib. I started laughing, man. I was like, good jib jib, that's funny. So they did a good job with a lot of things, and really, I think that they did a good job putting everybody emotionally through the ringer. Like they definitely kept you involved. There was never a point where I think anybody was just like, oh, this is boring. Like, I don't really like this, or this is they kept you. At least for me, they kept me engaged the whole time. And I was like, oh wow, this is good. So I really enjoyed it.
You know what else I want to add before you go, D?
Yeah.
You know what else I liked? I liked that High Evolutionary wasn't one and done. And I'll go, and then now you can go.
No, I was gonna say, I like the things you guys talked about too, so I don't need to retouch on those. I really like the fact that Gamora and Star-Lord did not get back together.
Yeah.
That is such an easy payoff. And I'm glad that it didn't go that route. You wanted them to, but it was the right story to tell.
Yeah.
And I loved Warlock. He's also in parts of the movie that I didn't like, so I'll get to that later. Music was great. Dude, I cried in, like, not sobbing uncontrollably, but every Guardians movie made me cry at one point, where I got a little like a stoic man tear from each movie. And that I appreciate a movie that can make me laugh and make me feel, sad,
emotional
too. Yeah, but those are good emotions. It wasn't like a sad just to make you depressed and hate life. It's sad because things are beautiful, and things that are beautiful don't last. And they did a great job with that. But overall, I love the villain. I have a gripe not about the villain, but something similar to that later. But yeah, no, great movie overall. Definitely earns its 9.4 grade.
Yeah. So they like me and Chris had a body count of like over under. I think I said three. Three dead.
We were very wrong.
Very wrong on the three dead. If we were talking about the bad guys, we would have been right.
I'll add that to being something I like, because like I said, like they did a lot of, like, if this was wrestling, they did a lot of near falls. Like there was a lot of, it was like, oh, this is it, and they did a good job of not going. I mean, obviously you figure, all right, these guys are gone, and it's like, no, then they made it through, and with them doing that, it's just like, all right, so now what's going to happen? And it's just like, they did a good job with that, because normally in those type of situations, like, all right, well, we know it's the supposed to be the last movie of a trilogy, it's the last group of this, someone's got to go, Avengers Endgame, you know what I mean? Was it out of the original Avengers? It was Black Widow and Tony Stark. That that was it. They croaked. They're done. And it's just like so. Usually there's somebody who doesn't make it, and then it's like, no, they all made it. And when it comes to what's next with them, they did a good job of kind of putting it out there, where it's like everybody's kind of gonna do their own thing. And you may see them again, you may not. It all depends on
it's a few characters that you will see again.
Yeah,
and it's the other ones to kind of said their time is up. But these characters, we know we're going to see Star-Lord again.
Yes.
We know we're going to see Nebula again. The reason why I say that, because she's pretty much in charge of nowhere. That's a major player in the whole MCU. She's not signed. She's not signed up for future contracts, but guess what? Her character's in a significant role, so she's going to be back eventually.
Yeah.
And the other character is Macy Rocket, because he's in charge of the Guardians.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he's in charge of the Guardians, and then Drax is running.
Drax
he's her.
Drax
no, I know that. I know that. Like I have my theory as to like what will happen with him. Just because I don't think it's gonna, like, you may or may not see him on screen again, but they're definitely gonna use him, I think, to be significant to something happening with one of the characters that they introduced towards the end.
You might see him again. You might see him again, but it'll be a death scene.
Yeah,
and it's gonna explain what's going on in the future, and it's probably gonna introduce his daughter or something. To bring to keep that character, kind of like that memory of that character going on. But they're gonna. He's done, but he's not really done, because in all those contracts, even though they have so many they have to do, they also put in there, we have the right to request you back for future projects.
Yeah, so I mean,
so they're gonna get him back.
It could be just CGI, really. I mean, if he doesn't want to actually show up, he could just do a Vin Diesel, provide a voice to do a character model, and then just kill it off on screen. That's easy enough.
Yeah, I also like they got around finally to calling Rocket. They referred to him as Rocket Raccoon in this movie, and showing how he mentally got there, where he was okay with being called Rocket Raccoon, and he was
Yeah.
proud of that name. Like I thought that was so well done.
Yeah.
And like there was very good movie.
Yeah.
Let's rip it apart now.
Well,
Well,
the thing
I'll
that-
say one thing I like that some people hate it, because people want this character to be what they remember it at the end, but they don't realize this is the start of this character, which is Warlock. Warlock is a child. They even mentioned that he's a child because he wasn't finished developing yet.
Yeah.
And his mind is learning as it goes. He has the body and power of the man he is, but he has the mind of a 10-year-old, or the Jib Jib kids. He has the mind of those kids. Like, so he's learning as he goes. A lot of people didn't like that. I actually appreciated that, because you can't just have him be the Warlock you want him to be, because what's the point of him being in a movie? He's got hatched early, and he has to go through this process to become the Warlock you want him to be. So I like that. Now, I didn't like as goofy as they made him sometimes, but I did like not being this old powerful Warlock that saved Infinity War in the comics. Yeah.
Well, for me though, like one thing we got to realize is he only signed a 1 movie deal. And that's like he could not go back if he didn't feel like it. Or if they don't have anything written for him. For me, the space and time between Guardians 2 and Guardians 3, I wanted to see him more involved in the third act. And he didn't need to be full Adam Warlock from the comic books, but I wanted to see him have a bigger part in beating High Evolutionary. And for me, that leads into my big problem with the third act. Like, so High Evolutionary, his big power that he had over people is he could control gravity. And they beat him with gravity boots. That's really how he was wrecking shop on all of them until they turned on their gravity boots. And then it was over with. They all just sucker punched him and beat the hell out of him. For me, I like the gravity boots giving them the ability to stay on ground, but gravity is like magnetism. You can do so much with that power and display that in so many cool different ways. I think they left a lot of that on the table, and that where I would have liked to have seen Warlock more in this movie was really helping them get over the hump and being able to defeat High Evolutionary. He didn't mature and develop, but he could have been a big part on why they were able to put that last nail in his coffin and put him to rest and out of the way for good. And they kind of left that out, which is weird to me. I loved the young Adam Warlock, the mentally not there. I thought that was perfect for this movie. But if they don't end up using him again, because they don't need to, and he doesn't need to, they really wasted that character. And I know that they wanted to use him in the Avengers movies, but James Gunn had it worked out where Warlock was his character, and they couldn't use him before Guardians 3. So then I feel like if they don't do something else really big with him down the road, then I'm going to be really disappointed in their overall execution of the character.
Yeah, it's like some of the comments I saw earlier talking about Ironheart. That's kind of like that's really what could happen with Warlock.
Yeah.
And I would hope the guy didn't use Marvel to get in shape to do other movies, because that's what he end up doing if he doesn't sign up for anything else. Because that dude got jacked for this movie.
Dude, I remember him in other movies where he was just this young idiot kid that
was skinny. It was skinny. Yeah. So
what movie am I thinking of?
Well, it was the one where he was like the parents and stuff like that. That was one of the movies. But but the funny thing is, he got jacked for this movie, and he looked like he got bigger after the movie. When they did the con and he came out, he was huge. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, wait, he's not as big as when I saw him at the convention. Like, what's going on? But like, he, I think he signed. They probably didn't have no plans as of yet. That's why they probably signed a one-picture deal. Which, guess what? He'll get signed to probably like 8 or 10 if they re-sign him. Because he will come back for Secret Wars. I'm sorry. This Secret Wars is everybody think Endgame was bonkers. If you think Endgame was bonkers, Secret Wars is going to be as bonkers, probably as more.
Yeah.
Hey, K-pop. Remember the movie I was talking about? We're the Millers is where.
That's the one like the family. Yeah.
God, that's so good.
Yeah, but he was like this big in that movie.
I know he was such a little dude, just a little fella.
But he got jacked for this movie. I didn't even realize because sometimes I pay attention to contracts, but lately I haven't been paying attention to it because normally they all sign multiple. I didn't even know he signed one. Like your girl from Ironheart, she signed like 20 something. It was like over 20, like that's appearances. So like that's why everybody's like, well, she's gonna be in a lot of stuff. So it's like, so it's like.
Well, and those contracts work it out so that they don't have to put them in 20 movies.
Yeah.
But you're obligated to be in 20 movies if they want you to be.
Yeah. So it's like both of those work in different ways. Like being in the one and you're only obligated for one means they have to renegotiate to get you for more.
Yeah.
But if they say they want you for 20, they don't have to put you in for 20. They could actually just put you in for 10, or they could put you in for 1, or they could be like, hey, we need you for all 20. But guess what? You already signed it, so this is what you're getting paid.
Well, and they're not dumb though, because Robert Downey Jr. signed a pretty small contract to begin his MCU run, and they quickly realized, all right, we're going to give him a lot more money, and
he actually signed the same deal as the kid Warlock.
Yeah,
he signed one movie deal for $500,000 for the first movie with no residuals. And they quickly found out, like, oh crap! And guess what? Robert Downey quickly found out too. It's like, hey, we're gonna like this. I'm gonna increase my pay, but he only did like I think 2. Like he only signed like a short deal. It was like not like it was like all right, yeah, I'll sign for 2 more. And then like so at the end of every time, his stuff went up. So by the end of it, he was getting like 1% of the box office for Endgame and Infinity War, and that's why people are like, man, how did he get $75 million? It's like because the movie made $1 billion.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is that I don't know. I mean, I would assume that if it's something like that, because I was thinking it was probably kind of the Robert Downey thing. I mean, how involved is he going to be going forward? Like how big are they going to make Warlock? Just because the thing that's tough, or the thing that I think this lends itself to is also the fact that they're going to be doing more cosmic stuff. I think they're gonna take a step back from that for a little bit and set up some other things. But as they do more cosmic, that's when they're gonna sit there. And I mean that's not just gonna make all that bank because well, you got to have Warlock if it's gonna be cosmic stuff. He's got to deal with all the cosmic people.
I think we're going back to Earth. Besides Loki stuff, I think we're gonna be back on Earth for the next 2 years.
Yeah,
Earth has been really pissing me off lately. Let me tell you. Like sometimes, I'm glad to be alive, but man, sometimes Earth can be a difficult place to be. So I don't know, man. Let me see some other planets. Let me shop around a little bit.
Yeah, but they've been off of the planet so much now. I think it's we're gonna be Echo. We got Daredevil. We got what movie? No, we got one more cosmic, which is The Marvels.
Yep.
Which actually the trailer got me more into this movie.
I love the trailer. I don't give a shit. Like I know you were in the same boat on that one. That trailer looks fun. It made all the characters look fun. I'm into that.
Yeah. They even made a lot of people don't like Brie Larson. They even made her look fun in this movie.
Dude, let me tell you something right now. All right, I'm a happily married man. I love my wife. I'm leaving tonight. If Brie Larson calls me, it's over with.
You can have Brie. I'll take Was it
Monica?
You
Monica
just
Rambo?
pointed at Boston
I
Crab.
said, no, I was pointing all around, but Monica Rambo. He knows what I was about to go. He knows what I was saying.
No,
Monica Rambo.
but no one has a problem with Monica Rambo. That's not why they hated that trailer. They just don't like Brie Larson. But
Yeah, of course.
Like-
And that's the thing. It's just like, the one thing that kind of, has been bugging me a lot about, and everybody can have their opinion. That's fine. It's just like, but the thing that I kind of look at is that, a lot of people don't like to admit it. They refuse to admit that, they have such a high bar now because of like Endgame and Infinity War. Like, that every movie that's followed, they just can't be, oh, well, it's just not that good. And it's just like, it was good. It's just not this. Like, you're not going to get something that caliber till later on. And then it's like, it makes me wonder when they finally do Secret Wars, as they're going to be like, oh, well, and Endgame and Endgame and stuff was good, but this is way better than that. And so that movie must. And it's like, okay, so you're gonna reset your standards every time. You know what I mean? It's just like you kind of have to. You can't just judge by the best of the best. You got to go by just was it a good quality movie? Did you enjoy yourself while you were there? Is it, just because you can't expect them to just go guns blazing every single time just because it's like. Eventually you'll get bored of that shit. If every movie that came out was Endgame level every time, you get bored. So
I don't want to go too sideways on what we're supposed to be talking about. What we hated about.
Got me fired up, Chris.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Like,
I just thought about it. So we went sideways.
No, I want to go sideways for a minute. Let me get after it.
Go ahead.
I can say. I mean, there's some like so. One thing. I think that kind of it didn't bug me badly, but it was just like it did kind of seem like they took a lot of time on the evolutionary planet, like what I mean, that they could have been doing other things. Where it's like like the couch joke just kind of kept going on for a little bit. It wasn't bad. I thought it was funny, but it's like there's certain things that got tightened up here and there. I think that. When it comes to the Warlock thing where people would want to have seen more out of him, that was kind of a tough one. I think the thing that was kind of funny was that like he didn't, so he kind of came back looking for the Guardians again on their ship after his mother got killed, but it's like it was the evolutionary that did it, so why are you going back to these people to start trouble with them? It's just like he should have been like I mean, think of it from a little kid's point of view. It's like you kill my mom. Like, he should have been ready to rip the planet in half and be like, I want to fight the high evolutionary now. And then even if he went out and got the shit kicked out of him, which it would make sense because it's like I'm angry and I want to fight you, and it's like I'm smarter than you. I'm gonna just beat the shit out of you and just leave you, almost dead. Like that would have been kind of cool too. But it's not anything that that was bad. It's just little things you can tighten up. I would say just. Things that you can give it a press and make it a 9.6. That's all. Not too bad. And I don't believe in superhero fatigue. I think that's bullshit. I think that's Martin Scorsese talk for I'm not good at movies anymore. So there's got to be superhero fatigue. It's not fatigue. It's just the fact that people, I think, have people expect, just the absolute pinnacle all the time. And it's like, you can't do that.
No, I disagree with that point. I agree with you that superhero fatigue is not a real thing.
It's not.
But I will tell you that Marvel has made some stinkers, and it's not because they don't rise. No, hold on. You had a lot of time. You give me a second. No, they it doesn't need to be as high as Endgame. It doesn't need to be as wild and as many stakes. But Eternals was not good. I personally loved Shang-Chi, but the third act was terrible.
Yes, I'll give you that.
And Doctor Strange, didn't care for that movie. You took the character of Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and you ruined her. You ruined all of her side stories and her journey throughout the MCU, and they gave her a poor reason to turn into a monster of a supervillain.
Yes. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you
give it all to me, man. I'm always right every time.
No. I'll say like the Doctor Strange thing was weird, just because of the fact, like you said, they made her into like this horrible monster that just, it didn't make any sense at all, like why she went that way. And then from the trailer did kind of mislead, because it almost seemed like that, like there was a reason for her to kind of go differently, but it was like at no point did I think that she was the main villain of the movie until they're like, oh, and it's got to be them, she's going to be the main villain. I'm like, well, how the fuck is this going to work? And then I was like, oh, okay, I see how this worked. I don't quite like how it worked, but I mean, but there was enough things in there that I did like. Just her story and the way she kind of went about it, I thought was kind of dumb, but it is what it is. But yeah, like I'll give you Shang-Chi as well, just because that last fight scene made I mean they were cruising, they were doing great, and all of a sudden I was like, oh wow, this is
two CGI dragons.
Yeah,
but if you were worried about Marvel's future, Guardians 3 should reassure you that it still has a lot of potential and can still be very good. And they still have not yet delivered on Fantastic Four or X-Men. And
yes,
when they finally open those boxes, if they do it properly, they have another 20 years of movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those, a lot of those movies could, how am I say this? A lot of those movies like Fantastic Four, X-Men, even when you delve deeper into some of the other characters they actually have, those are superheroes, but it can be written that you almost forget they are superheroes. Fantastic Four is a family. X-Men, depending on what side you are, is still a family. It's a school, political, human rights, all kind of stuff dealing with X-Men. Fantastic Four has a little bit of Earth-based stuff and cosmic stuff. They deal with all kind of different things. So it's science. Basically, that's basically what Fantastic Four is, like scientists. So it's if they do it right, it's not just superheroes with good stories. So I don't think it'd be fatigue if they do it right. It's all going to be about casting and writing. Blade is the same thing. Blade, it was casted perfectly, in my opinion. If you were going for a new Blade, problem is they can't figure out the writing. Then they hire a new writer who actually did some good stuff, and guess what happened? The writer strike 2 days later. So so now he can't work on the stuff. So it's they're doing the right steps as far as Marvel. And then we got to remember too is Marvel was so high and so good that they can afford a few stinkers, and their stinkers still make more than the DC's good stuff. So people try to point that out, and I say, hey, Thor: Love and Thunder was not as great, but it still made more than Black Adam.
God, I forgot about that one. That was terrible.
Yeah, but it still made more than Black Adam.
I know.
It made more than Shazam.
It was better than Black Adam.
But no, but it wasn't better than Shazam. It wasn't better than Shazam, the new Shazam. The new Shazam was actually pretty good, but that didn't make any money either. So
like Love and Thunder had so much potential to be good, and then it just it just fell very short.
I think Taika got high and he forgot what he was doing.
The Thor Ragnarok was probably my favorite MCU movie.
It was good.
It was and it may not be the best movie, but I enjoyed it the most. I don't know how to qualify that, but Love and Thunder was my.
We got Thor one eye for a little while.
I know,
just like the comic.
But Thor: Love and Thunder is my least favorite movie.
Yeah,
I can't ever describe to you how much I hate Love and Thunder.
Kyle has got something he brought up. He really different characters, tired of stuff being remade and rebooted. That's why hopefully with these X-Men and Fantastic Four, it's kind of rebooted, but it's to me, I consider those new and different because Marvel and Disney are doing it.
and they don't necessarily have to use the exact same group of X-Men. Like if you look back on the original X-Men movie, no, what I mean is that like if you look like they could go into the original group Iceman, Beast, and all that. They could do that. They could do the giant size group. They could do any group they wanted to, and it would be differently told. It would be a different whole story, and it wouldn't quite be a reboot. The other thing too you have to look at is that when it comes to that type of thing, where it's like, oh, I want to see different characters and stuff like that. Yeah, which everybody wants to. The thing is though, like if you're a big company like that, you're gonna try to get the most popular stuff out there because you want to make money on this stuff. And on top of that, if you're gonna make a movie like a Fantastic Four, like X-Men, they're gonna be expensive movies to make because that's a lot of CG to be putting on people. Like just Reed Richards alone stretching and just take the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? That the CG just to get them together to be able to display their powers on screen, that's a lot of money. The X-Men, forget it. That's a ton of money.
Yeah, because I got a ton of different powers and stuff. But
hopefully
we get a new character in the Marvels. Because the Marvels they haven't said they got a new character, but Guardians, we got couple new characters, and we got we got longer cameos of other characters. Mr. Howard the Duck. Hey man, I mean, we could have used a little bit more Howard. James Gunn, I'm very disappointed. You already teased him once. Don't tease him again. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could have did a little scene or something. They were on that little floating planet for a while. So he's there. He could have had more than a polka guard scene. That was my little discouraged on that part. But I like hopefully on the Marvels. Hopefully, I did. So I said Cosmo got more than Howard the Duck, and I'm like, I'd rather Howard the Duck than Cosmo. This is how I felt about it. But hopefully, like he was talking about the new characters. So hopefully in the Marvels we get a new character. They have a layup character they could introduce. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about, but they could introduce Blue Marvel. That's a layup character. It doesn't even have to make sense, but his name's Blue Marvel. Or they can introduce the character's regular name. He could be a scientist working with Monica Rambeau. And something they have an easy spot where they can introduce a new character and easily put it in, and it wouldn't feel forced, and it wouldn't feel like, oh man, why did they do that? They have certain ways where they could introduce that character in probably any part of that movie, and if they don't, I'll kind of be disappointed because, like I said, that character plays hand in hand with a lot of those characters.
Yep, definitely, and I mean, they already did kind of. Well, she's Quasar, but I mean, they did, and it was funny. I was talking to Hudat after I had seen it, and he's like, he's like, I wonder who that little girl is, and this. And I was like, that's Phyla-Vell, and he's like, what? I was like, yeah, I was like that's Phyla. You didn't hear them say, oh, Phyla, da da da. It's like that's Phyla-Vell. So it's just like that. So this is what I'll say as far as how we were alluding to with the Drax thing. I think. So let's say Moondragon comes in some way, shape, or form. That's fine, but I think that Moondragon's going to be her own thing, maybe and may or may not interact with Drax. I think what's going to happen. I think Drax is going to end up dying, and Phyla-Vell is going to be the one that's more affected by it, and that might be what they do to kind of bring her to I guess being more of an important character, a more impactful character, because I think that she's also going to age quickly, like Warlock did, because she's genetically engineered to do so. I think that's where you're going to end up having that thing, and that's going to.
What if they do a character kind of rework? Mm-hmm. The only reason I say this with Guardians, what if they do a character rework in the Phyla character? Because they didn't say Phyla-Vell, they just said Phyla.
Yeah, they said Phyla.
What if the Phyla character turns out to be like Moondragon, but like they did in the comic, Moondragon was Madam McEvil. And I think she remembered something. I forgot how I read that. I remember reading the series because it's like Iron Man 54, then it goes to Daredevil 105. I remember reading it, and I'm like, and then she's like, oh, no, I'm Moondragon. What if they do that, but set up people thinking it's Phyla-Vell? I was like, no, Phyla is not Phyla-Vell. Phyla thinks she's Phyla-Vell, but she's really Moondragon. What if they did that? I just think that, because you know how Marvel is. It'd be kind of interesting with
maybe she's a clone of Drax's daughter, and it's like, okay, so they.
That's how he knows the language, because he knows the language. The dude Come on, come on. Drax don't know nothing.
Because
I can know that
that would
language.
be
I can
kinda
know that
cool.
language.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. I think that I think that would be more along the lines of something like it's something that's gonna change her. I mean, because it makes sense. That's why I think that he's gonna be more of her surrogate dad, and that'll be the thing. So she's out with the Guardians and stuff, but he's the one taking care of her and everybody else back at the nowhere and everything. So I think that's definitely gonna be something that will be significant at some point.
You know what else I didn't like? I didn't like that Nebula's arm was actually made by Rocket.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't like it, not saying that because they already said Rocket can do all this technology stuff, but who did Nebula spend the most time with before Guardians 3?
Yeah, it's Tony.
Tony. She I don't know how many days or whatever they spent together, and she was working on stuff for her, and and all kind of like she gave him food because she didn't really need food. So it's like and he was working on her arm. That's all in the movie. So I was like, wait, Rocket did upgrades? I said, but the upgrades look like something Tony would do. Like it turned into a freaking cannon from like a suit. She flew down like Rescue.
Yep.
So that kind of I didn't like that part. I didn't, they were trying to build up Rocket even more, which they didn't have to. I thought it was saying that.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. Yeah, I think that part of things, like they were basically trying to overstate his importance. But I think it was like, well, all you really needed was them to be able to see like what he went through, like what it took to make him into actually Rocket, and then go from there. And I think the good thing. I mean, the part they established him being property, I think was kind of cool too. Where it's just like he's property. Like the High Evolutionary wants him back. Like this is why they're coming after him. And then on top of that, you had the thing where what set the High Evolutionary off was the fact that Rocket was smarter than him. As a little kid, he's just like use this thing here that like the proteins are not going right, and that's why they're and he figured out why everybody was coming out feral and why it wasn't working. And couldn't even fully describe exactly what it was that he needed to take care of. And then that's, what set High Evolutionary off. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's good. But then the funny thing too is that he hid all that intelligence before that, just because he was never about okay, he could do certain things, but he always seemed like more of a MacGyver type thing. It was like, all right, I can kind of, throw these things together. But then, he's always so crude all the time. So it's like, when he's talking to with the soldiers, he's like, I'm gonna get that arm from you. You know what I mean? Like you never thought of him as like, oh no, he's a mega genius. It's like, really? So now he's a genius. That's kind of a new power up for him.
But I think they explained part of that too in the movie, where
they explained part of it.
Him using his genius got his friends killed early in the movie. Where he obviously did the right thing. They were going to get killed anyways, but like. You go through that. It don't matter if you did the right thing. You're still going to be messed up afterwards. And they gave Rocket a great story.
They gave him such a great story that you thought he is going to die.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think that was the plan though. Is the trailer wanted you to think it. The movie made you think it all along. And really, what I think they were trying to do was. They're trying to set up another main character in Marvel. And I think James Gunn loves the fact that it's Rocket Raccoon. He gets off on rubbing these obscure characters in your face and making them important and making you care about them. Which I think is a testament to his talent. Like, he's so good.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think, too, the funny part with... the scene where you have Rocket and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you look at him and he's gonna die and everything, and then you go back to the trailer and it's like they're showing Quill and like he's lifeless, and it's like, oh shit, he like, well, there's no, that was my whole basis of, oh, there's no way he's surviving. And it's like, no, he was, you watch the movie, it's like, no, he's just drunk. It's like, he was just drunk. That's all it was. I thought that, like, because they all look sad and somber, but it's like, no, they're looking at him for being so pathetic.
You see, and guess what? You should have just messaged D. He would have said, man, he's just drunk, man. He's not dead. Come on, man.
He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. He had so much of that milk, man. Whatever that milk they were drinking, whatever that girl.
He'll be at work tomorrow. Not a problem. Don't worry about it.
But I don't know if y'all saw the scene about them doing that, because they actually made like a rubber.
Yeah, there's like a rubber.
Yeah. And it said Chris Pratt was like freaked out because it was so accurate how it looked.
Yeah.
It was like that. So we got Comic Journey in the chat. He says he don't shit on Rocket. He was a super genius.
Oh,
He's like, yeah,
I love
Rocket.
Rocket.
Yeah, no, we actually didn't. We actually all love Rocket. They should have killed Drax, but the story wasn't really about Drax. So killing Drax wouldn't have been a payoff. That it's just been killing Drax.
But here's the deal. I don't think they're going to use Drax again.
Yeah.
And I think that I like what they did is they gave him a good end to his story if we never see him again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe we do. I know there's a lot of possibilities, and money always talks, and he could be in the next movie for all we know. But if we don't ever see him again, they gave that character a great end to his story that wraps it up where 3 movies worth of characters for him, of character development for him, now comes full circle, makes sense. He's going to be a dad to a ton of kids that needed a dad.
Yeah.
After he had lost his family already. Like, what a great second chance for him.
Yeah. And another thing, actually, I just thought of something that kind of, one thing that kind of did bug me a little bit. One thing, a couple of things that actually do bug me about the movie. So one thing that it's kind of funny, and the first 2 movies do well of steering clear of this, so it's not as bad to be like, oh yeah, like, it's plausible. The soundtrack makes sense. However, in this movie, and I'm trying to think so I don't remember what year he got picked up. I think it was 1980 something or other, like 80. I want to say in between 85 and 88, he was picked up from Earth. There's no way he knows Creep. There's no way he knows that Space Hog. I mean, even though because he has a Zune in. The Zune has music from the 90s. He's never heard this shit before because he's been away from Earth for all that time. So there's that. That's whatever. That's fine.
He went to Earth for Endgame. So.
Oh, and you got new Zune music. That's what you're saying?
No. But the Zune came out in the 2000s. That could have been bought from a pawn shop with a lot of music in it.
Nah.
No, I fully deflated that for you.
You did. I don't like that.
Where?
I said he came back in Endgame. It's not like he came back and then he just left after he probably stuck around.
He wasn't on Earth in Endgame.
I thought he was in Earth in Endgame. Everybody came back.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. You're right. He definitely.
Because he had the scene when he saw Gamora and he and then he got punched in the face or something.
And then he sat down at the computer. But even so, the Zune came. It wasn't brand new in a box. They bought that sucker from a pawn shop. It had music on it.
Oh, that's true. All right. You know what? I didn't think of that. The other thing that I was kind of curious, and it doesn't bother me as much, but it does kind of make me wonder, is how old was his grandfather? Because, I mean, his grandfather would have been ancient by the time he came back to him. And he was very old. I just don't remember, like, if he was... Like I'm trying to think like how old, like how he necessarily wasn't dead. I mean, because he didn't look like he was all that just beat up. Like he said something like, he's talking about his uncle or whatever. He's like, yeah, 45-year-old man, able-bodied, can't do his own work, whatever. I'm like, but I was like, if you have a 45-year-old son, like, and you had a fully grown daughter in the 80s and stuff like that, it's like, wow, that's kind of a weird situation because it's like. You'd have to be very old at this point. You'd have to be like, I would say somewhere in the 90s. It's like
he's beyond that.
He's in hundreds. They're
in the future. They're in the future in Marvel.
Yeah,
because of the
Well, they
leak.
must have had that Wakanda technology. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, there's gotta be
but
some type of
the only thing that could have saved him a little bit from years is a snap. He could have got snapped away and he came back. But
that's
that's only saving him like 5 years or whatever
If
it was.
he
But
if he got
crazy is that?
snapped, he could still be in his early to mid 90s, and I can stomach that.
yeah,
Well,
and I had a
I'm
question.
thinking-
Yeah, I had a question about the woman that was that his new wife that answered the door, or was that a worker, or like so when you get older, you got somebody.
You know,
No, hey,
I'll
let's
remember.
just give him a happy ending. It's his new wife, baby. Oh yeah, he
The only
upgraded.
reason I say that because that would if that is like a nurse or something, then it makes sense. All right, they're saying this is his nurse, and yeah, he
It
is
was
of
his
that age.
nurse, but
Yeah,
we can go on thinking that's his new wife, baby. Grandpa got down.
But no, the thing too is that like
the swirl.
'cause just thinking that it is funny that we don't think as much of the stuff that they tell you that's going on within the MCU and all that type of stuff, because it's like there's all this new Wakandan technology that just got put out to everything, and then what's it called, Ant-Man and Wasp, they're talking about how they we're doing things to make like medicine better and getting food to everybody. So it's like there's a lot of shit out there that they're doing that's kind of probably prolonging some people's lives. I'm just kind of thinking, and then the snap too. It's like who got snapped away, who benefited from those 5 years being away, who didn't. It's just kind of it's all kind of strange, and it's like as much as you just kind of look at it like, all right, like those things always will rear their heads again, because it's like, oh, this doesn't make much sense. Wait, how did this happen? How did he get down? That's the question. Is there some type of Wakandan Viagra that's out there?
Oh, Vibranium and Viagra is an unbeatable match, so you can't mess with it.
Oh my
Like it's
God.
synthesized everything with the vibranium now.
Oh my God, I don't have nothing else to say about the Vibranium Viagra. First of all, that would I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know what to say about it.
I think that's a great place to end it.
Yes, it is. But I'm gonna shout out the chat really quickly. Comic Journey, appreciate you stopping through. He came through. K-pop was here. Chef had some good questions. I'm sorry we missed a few of them, Chef. But
Where's
White Vision, we have no idea. Paul Bettany's not signed anymore. That's all I can tell you. Promiscuous Time Travel was in the house, which I hope they do some new characters. Big Dave Love Comics. They got to mail out your books, sir. I'm mailing out everybody's stuff that's bought stuff from me, and I'll do the giveaway, and I'll just have to remail it. I'm just trying to get everything out as soon as possible. But shout out to you and Manny as well, the Hobgoblin, and Kenneth Bird, Cali Comics, all those people who came through earlier, and Lady Fantastic. Shout out to Big Lady Fantastic for coming through. And
Chat was stacked and jacked.
Yeah. If I missed anybody, I apologize. So thank you guys. Please thumbs up the video. But I want to say thank you to D-Ronk for joining us. Like I said, I love talking to D-Ronk and doing stuff like that. A lot. Well, anybody who's been on the hunt, I like doing these shows with people because we don't do it enough. Let's just say it like that. We don't do it enough. We don't talk as much as this because everybody's busy. Life happens. So I'm very appreciative for you joining us. We almost were about to go live because we didn't know where Chris was at.
He was MIA, baby. MIA.
And he actually popped up and thought we were already live.
I did. I was trying to do my best impression of so what do we think about, guys? What's going on now?
But I want to say a special thank you to D-Ron for joining, man. So I'm done saying my goodbyes and thank yous. I'll go to Chris, and then the guests will end it off for us.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'm going to give you a little bit of friendly advice, Instagram wise. Just because I did remember we talked about this earlier.
Yes.
So if you see any profile named comic_man or any comic man, whatever, and it's 794797779, anything comic man, be wary, just because the guy's a scammer. I guess he's been, making his rounds through. There's been a few different people that have highlighted and said something about him. Callie actually went ahead and did a Instagram post about it today. saying, "I thought you guys knew this guy's a scammer." Like he keeps on just kind of repopping up. So the books that he's posting up are deals that are just beyond too good to be true in some cases. Some cases, the decent prices, but for the most part, it's just like, just to give an example, I think he had a Spider-Man 14 or no, Spider-Man I think 16 First Lizard for $250. Like that immediately sent up red flags, and I was like, there's no way that this is legit at all. So just he's not advertising anybody, but he is following people. So if you get a follow from Comic Man, and he likes 7-9 in there somewhere, do not just. I'm telling you, you can follow all you want, but do not buy. If you do, I warned you. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I forgot to mention that earlier. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Like, that person is definitely a scammer. Elite Comics 11 actually made a post as well.
Yep.
Talking about this person and then posted multiple different names of that. So just be aware of that. If you're following this person or they're following you, I would just block them. Because we have some people on there that when I saw the picture, the new profile updated thing, they actually have a few names. I'm not going to mention them that we know of that are following them that's on YouTube. So just be aware of that. But yeah, man, appreciate reminding on the scammer guy. D Runk Comics CGC guy who said, you know what, just submit the books again, buddy. You drive your car and we'll fix it, maybe.
Hey, I got another scam on Instagram y'all got to be aware of. You see a person using my name.
Oh, wow, really?
For nude pictures. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
but he's gonna say you can send them, but it wasn't him.
Just send them and then report them immediately. No. Hey, I appreciate you guys for having me on. It was a good chat today. I love the chat. They had a lot of great things to say throughout the whole talk. And lastly, I want to thank me. Like, if I didn't come on here, I mean, shit, what would it have been?
All right, Snoop Dogg. Shameless plug. Check out the hunt this Friday. We got a lot of different people coming on. I don't think any titles are on the line, but they have an acknowledgement that's going to be this Friday of a certain person who's just like his head so big they want to acknowledge him now. But check out the hunt tomorrow at not tomorrow, Friday. What's the time? 10 Eastern, 11 Eastern?
10:20 Central, 11:20 Eastern.
Yeah, 11:20.
Hey, it'll be advertised for 10 or 11 o'clock Eastern. Give it another 20 minutes, all right?
Yeah, because literally he gets off of work at that time.
Yeah.
And he's working on the show for the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So so if anybody's on the show, just be aware, none of us have gotten the link yet. When he said, I haven't gotten the link, what's going on? We all haven't gotten the link.
You'll get the link when it's time, jabroni.
Yeah. So be aware of that. So appreciate everybody, man. Appreciate D again. Graphic Content episode 7 is over. See you guys on the next one. Peace.